Fresh crack of the 10, 2,341 ranking.
Okay, that was Laura. She's gone rogue. The podcast has gone rogue. Gentlemen, it's fantastic to see you. Jakey, welcome back, my friend.
Mate, yes, I have gone AWOL for a little bit there, bit MIA. It's wonderful to see you both, especially you, Chris. I see Ryan's mutt most weeks, so yeah. But no, great to be back. Excited to crack in as always. Yeah, lots to chat about. So
Certainly
it's
is.
good.
Chris, before we get to Jake's team, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Yes, I'm good to talk footy.
All right, boys. That's all right. Don't have to ask me how I'm going, but I'm going well. I'm going very well. I mean, I've actually had a great week. School's sort of slowing down for me, and my footy's picking up. So that's always good to know. And Chris, the slander starts now because you shit at Supercoach, and I'm now the king. I may as well be the 2IC to Adam Pro. I'm popping off. I'm back. I'm back for the finals. I'm back for the classic. Everything's doing well for me. I killed it this week, boys. I got 836 overall for the entire rankings out of 176,000. So safe to say I'm the top 0.05% of super coaches out there in Australia. Yes, I am the king of Supercoach besides our beloved friend, which we'll give a rundown shortly. But I'm also very proud of myself because I got an all-time score of 1,826. So yes, hold your applause, boys. Hold your applause. I know I'm good. Now, Chris, since you are the 3IC now, because I'm better than you, do you want to elaborate how you went this week, my friend?
Well done, Ryan. All hail the new king, the new 2IC. No, like you had a pretty big final round. I scored 1753 and I crept into 939th overall. Yeah, most of my pods went big, like AJ Brimson 121, Izaka 110, Aaron Clark 107. So yeah, finished 2K last year and top 1K this year. So I'm pretty pleased with myself, pretty chuffed.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done, mate. Very proud. Jakey, how'd you go, my friend?
Yeah, very well done to you, both of you boys, especially you, Ryan. Obviously, a huge achievement for you, mate. And then yeah, top 1K for you as well, Chris. That's phenomenal, mate. I thought that slander start was going to be just with the Titans beating the Tigers over the weekend and avoiding that spoon miraculously. So I thought that's where it was beginning. Even you've rocked up without your Tigers hat on. You've changed cats by the looks, Chris. So that's where I thought that was going. So it's been good. It was a great weekend for footy in general. Yeah, great to see the Titans got up. But in terms of Supercoach, I think I was putting in the group chat, I'd just be happy to finish under the 20,000 mark, which I did. Overall, my season rank was 17,921. And yeah, just this week gone, I got 1621 for my final score for the year. So yeah, there was a lot of big scores this week. So 1621 isn't that great, I don't think, but still good enough. And yeah, under the 20K. So
well, Jake, I think you should be pretty proud of yourself, mate, because I'd say probably 8 to 10 rounds ago, you'd be close to 50,000. So you've definitely shot up the rankings in recent times, that's for sure.
Oh, mate, don't shoot me down that much. I think the highest I got up to was about 28,000, all right? So
may as well be.
I know
I couldn't see if
I've been missing in action. I know I've disappeared for a month or so and I haven't given you many updates, but yeah, come on, mate. It wasn't 50,000, I promise. So
sorry, I just got confused because you also probably got stuck in a hole in New Zealand, mate. So
yeah, I didn't get stuck in a hole, but mate, I definitely got stuck there. I definitely went AWOL. No conversation from me. No communication whatsoever, mate. I had a great time over there. 7 days of boarding.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a day I didn't have a tin in my hand. So yeah, it was a great trip.
Love to see it.
But yeah.
Now, boys, nice. I'm going to give you one chance to say why I've got my Maroons hat on today. Get one guess each. There's a special reason why the Maroon hat's on today. From round
Chris,
27.
you want to shoot first?
Oh, yeah. Your other hats are in the wash.
No. It's sentimental and it's got a purpose.
I'm not sure, but my only off-the-cuff guess is that Hasler's now gone. Josh Hannay, Queensland assistant coach, with that mix of that Titans jersey, mix it all together, and that's what it's there for.
Well, the Titans jersey, OG Titans mod I had when they were actually good and not in the bottom. No, the reason why I'm wearing the Queensland hat is I think it might be the first time all year every single Queensland team won.
Oh,
Yeah, cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was
Cool
a
stuff.
good little omen. And obviously the Titans jersey, I was super proud of the boys last weekend. Not so much the first half, as everyone can probably imagine. I'm in a very, very die-hard area of the Titans Legion in the Western stand, just behind the Titans bench. And it was getting very quiet, and the Tigers fans were getting very, very chirpy. And Jake, you can probably attest to this because you're on the other side of the stadium where the Tigers fans were. I can imagine how loud it was over there. But mate, soon as the second half started, and I think it was a big turning point when Cooper Bye jumped on. I've been glazing him for the past couple of weeks, but fantastic debut from him. The energy, as soon as he came on, and he almost got that try within the first couple of minutes coming on, the boys turned it right on, 100% onto the accelerator, and they looked like a different team. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, it was unreal. Even just to hold the Tigers to no points in that second half as well. That defensive effort was there. They were clearly fighting for it. Foz's last game ever. So yeah, they showed up. It was really good. And yeah, I think it was in a couple of minutes, Cooper Bye managed to bring a lot of energy and cross the line. But yeah, he obviously got denied that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was filthy about that one, to be honest. Because yeah, you've definitely been talking about Bye a little bit, mate, here and there. So yeah, once he jumped on, I was like, yep, screaming his name. So it was good. But yeah, I was definitely surrounded by a few Tigers fans, and it was with my parents as well. So they're a little bit low key too. So I had no support really. So they were just there silently watching, and here I am vocalizing. So
Yeah.
but no, it was great. Great second half from the boys, and yeah, it was very nice
Yeah.
to see them get the win.
Now, you've got the two hats, Chris. You got a Titans and a Tigers hat. What did you think about the performance in that game as a whole?
Oh, look, I was happy for the Titans, not to win the wooden spoon. We didn't have the urgency there. Look, let's be honest, both teams are off to Bali, or they're already in Bali. So, I just wanted to watch a good game and, not watch a clusterfuck of a game. And, we got a good one. So I was happy.
Yeah, absolutely stoked. And I think, again, we talked about Cooper Bye, but it was good to see Carter Gordon finally get on the field. I thought the first 20 minutes he actually had some impact in defense. Obviously, defensively, not the best reads or consistently with those reads, but you can definitely see a running game in there in that build of his. And I think 5'8" / halfback will be his position moving forward. As I mentioned last week on the pod, he played halfback for Q Cup the week prior. So it'll be very interesting now that Foran's out of the picture. I gave you guys in the squad chat my projected 13 or hoping 13 for next year. I think he does partner Jaden Campbell, whether he's the 6 or the 7. I think he'll be there. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I would have to agree, especially seeing AJ in the centres as well. AJ even had a great game, I thought too. So it was definitely good to see Carter get his debut out there as well. But I think you've got it right. He came from Union in the halves there. So yeah, I believe the whole goal would be to chuck him into either the 6 or 7 for the Titans.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely the right move, I think. See how he goes.
Now, Chris, the super coach savant, he's played fullback all season pretty much, Brimo. He's obviously got more than 3 games at fullback. He's going to have more than 3 games at 5'8" because he started there at the season. But going off what the Titans just did, and bloody hell, Brimo looked fantastic at centre. And I'm happy to eat those words. And a bit of tongue-in-cheek banter on Instagram. I sent you the screenshot of Brimo's post about his centre calling. I thought that was pretty funny. Go into his Instagram, guys, and check that one out. But yeah, his running game, and obviously defensively, he's so good one-on-one at the back. Obviously an off-season there at centre. I don't see why he couldn't be one of the best centres in the game. Now, what positions does Brimo have next year, Chris? He's going to have probably starting at centre, so he's going to get that locked in, maybe. Or does he go and have the 5'8" fullback position dual because he's done that this year? What do you think there?
Yeah, I think it really just depends on what he does in the preseason, really. But if I had to guess, I think they're just going to simply stick him as 5'8" and fullback. It's similar to kind of like a Jaden Campbell this year who really hasn't played fullback or 5'8". He's only been halfback, but that's what he played majority in 2024. So they'll just give him that, which I don't hate at all, because I think you can plug him in at 5'8" next season. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was really funny actually when we were talking about where his best position is, and he scored 2 tries, and and he's writing on Instagram. He said, "Guys, I did well, but the caption was, hey, still not a centre." He clearly does not want to be playing centre. Really, he clearly sees himself as either a fullback or 5'8", probably fullback clearly. But I just don't think there's enough space. There's no space for him there, unfortunately. With Keanu Kinney.
Mate, and Keeney, bloody Jake, I don't know if you can say the exact same as me, but the eye test, I don't know what it looked like on TV, Chris, but bloody hell, he looked so good. Brimo is a fantastic ball runner in his own right, but Keeney's just a little energizer bunny. He just looks so dumb. Like every time he got the ball, I thought he was going to make a break. And I kind of like that with JC and Brimo sniffing around the ruck, supporting him, where he's sort of, it's fullback or nothing for Keeney, in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He definitely looks very quick, very agile. He's so damaging in attack kind of thing. So yeah, it was definitely good to see how he was going. And yeah, you're right. Keeney, I think does have that one jersey just because he's not really suitable anywhere else. So AJ does have that versatility, especially about him now. And I feel like JC has definitely cemented that 6 or 7 kind of jersey, definitely. So yeah, you can kind of see a good direction where the Titans will be heading in. So, but as for that positional kind of thing, I do feel like maybe the preseason will be a huge factor on what position they kind of give to AJ in terms of super coach. All you got to do is look at Ben Hunt. He's played pretty much his whole career, or at least like the past few, like 5-6 years in the 7 jersey. And we known him as a hooker, I guess, through Origin. And the first year he gets moved to the Broncos and they take everything off him and just give him the 6, just give him the 5'8".
Yeah.
So, and that was due to that preseason there. So I think I wouldn't say a 5'8" / fullback is locked in for AJ. I reckon, if there's rumours that he's been training in centre, he might get that centre wing fullback, I think, more than anything, would be my guess.
And I much prefer him at centre wing, even though next year, and we'll get to this discussion point in the coming segments, but centre wing next year is going to be absolutely stacked of all these fullback centre wing duels, and we're going to couple of them late in the season. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting conversation point later on. But I think, Chris, we'll go straight into what I liked last week, how we just went through sort of the team list and sort of went through the ins and outs. I thought that worked well, and I think the listeners appreciated that as well. Now, looking at game 1, absolute cracker because both teams have got some players out. Storm versus Doggies, Chris. You want to run that through that one for us?
Yeah. So the biggest out for this whole thing is Ryan Pappenhausen. He's out with concussion. Did he fail it in that final game? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I watched the highlight and it was almost a try-saving sort of run / tackle, and he sort of just whacked his head near the corner post and then just got sent off. So I thought it was originally called a cat too, but yeah, they must have changed that decision in the sheds.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So Nick Meaney, he's now at fullback. He played great for several games, to fill in for him. The rest of the team is pretty much the same. Wishart's at 7. Harry Grant is back. I thought it was very funny. I saw an interview with Cam Munster, and he said, "Yeah, I'm kind of glad Harry's back. We've leaked 70 when I've been captain. I don't think I should be the captain. I'm glad Harry's back," he said. So I thought that was funny. Yeah, and then the rest is the same. And Jonah Peasant, he's at 14, and also Bronson Garlick's at 17. For to spell Harry Grant is needed. When it comes to the Bulldogs, it is pretty close, 1 to 13 as well. But the main thing is that Jacob Kiraz still isn't back yet. He's on the extended bench, and Blake Wilson is starting for him. Yeah. The other thing I should probably say as well is Bronson Sherry's also out as well because of that concussion he had last week. So Inari Tuala is starting at left centre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Marcelo Montoya also with that ankle sprain as well. So that's unfortunate for him. Now, I think, Jake, before I ask your opinion here, boys, I actually think it's a smoke and mirrors on both sides here. I'm looking at the extended benches, and I'm just going to rattle off a couple of names on the extended bench for Melbourne. You got Jack Howarth and Suafar Longo. And the reason I'm saying those two names because Joe Chan is named at centre. Now, obviously, Joe Chan can do a job, but when you got two superstars like that, or not superstars, but two very more upside players in attack on the extended bench, and I know Howarth was very close last week to playing. I feel like he could be a chance of playing. And now I've also heard, I can't remember who said it, could have been Paul Gallen potentially, but he's pretty confident he's got a mail that Jacob Kiraz will play. So that's very interesting to note. Now, Jake, if Howarth or Farlongo are ready to play, would you put them in for Joe Chan? And then would you switch Nick Meaney if you went for Farlongo? Give us your spiel on how you think that would work out.
Yeah, look, it depends on obviously how those two gents are faring at the moment. Storm are pretty much or pretty lucky there, I feel. You can definitely see Joe Chan kind of dropping out there, Nick Meaney moving back to centre, and Falago going back to fullback, possibly. Could be very straightforward. Or if maybe Sua still isn't ready to be coming back there, Howarth could just be replacing Joe Chan in the centres if he's ready. So, and Nick Meaney would just be staying in that fullback position. I don't know if they'd do any other changes to their bench. Yeah, like Pezzett. To be honest, Garlic could even possibly drop out there because if Pezzett were to come in and give like Wish a spell at 7, Wish could obviously also jump into the hooker role.
Which I think he would.
Yeah, so then like Howarth or Sewer could easily just slot into that 17 role too.
Yeah.
So I feel like Storm with their extended bench definitely have like a few different potential moves there. And if you look at the Dogs, obviously if Karaz is available, whether it's Rinakama or Wilson, I'd probably presume it would be Wilson that would drop out there. But yeah, that's a pretty straightforward swap on the Dog side. I don't really see any other changes out of their extended bench.
Yep.
So unless they had an injury, essentially. But yeah, Storm could be some last minute changes there to try and get a stronger 17 for them. See if they can do some Amy Park magic and get a first round finals win as per usual.
Yeah. Chris, thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I actually quite like what Jakey said about Suafar Longo. I just don't think he can just sub in for Joe Chan. He's just much too small at centre, especially if he's playing. I don't think he'd be defending. I think he actually could be defending. No, he wouldn't be defending Stephen Crichton. That probably would be Grant Anderson on the left. But can you just imagine he'd be absolutely destroyed, really? And I don't know how big Inari Tuala is as well. So it could be a case of they just want to bolster up their back line defensively. It's final series. Defense wins out of attack often. But you're right. If Meaney goes to centre, then that's fine for far longer to go. Start at fullback. But I think that Jack Howarth is the play really. But it's just a case of can he come back from that groin injury? And if he's still not ready, then I don't think he's going to risk. I don't think Craig Bellamy's going to risk him.
You know what I think, boys? I think actually due to Pappenhausen being out and Jerome Hughes out with the broken wrist, I've got an inkling that Farlongo is going to come into fullback. And then Nick Meaney goes back to centre. And then Joe Chan will take that utility second row spot on the bench. Reason why I'm thinking that, yes, defence is so important and Jack Howarth is such a big body, but they're losing a lot of attack without Pappenhausen and Jerome Hughes. And I think you boys can agree in recent times, without the cheat code of Xavier Coates' chip kick to the corner, which has pretty much been their go-to for many, many weeks, they've looked quite pedestrian without Jerome Hughes. And I think you boys can agree as well, I don't think it would be a high-scoring affair, but having that game breaker in Farlongo provides probably that extra upside that Melbourne need due to the fact that two of their big four are going to be out.
Yeah.
They are hurting a bit, the Storm. Like Nelson, Nas with a suspension again, Jerome Hughes and Pappenhausen. Like, yeah, that's crazy. don't get me wrong, Nelson seems to be getting suspended all the time at the moment, but he's an absolute beast kind of thing when he's out there. He's definitely that more old school player. He's just happy to hit hard. He's just a taller boy, bigger frame, and he's just collecting heads. So there's no way I'd want to go up against Nas, no matter how big I was. So yeah, so there's definitely some three big names there for the Storm that are hurting. But yeah, with even Carraz, Montoya, and Sherry out, Dog's back line has definitely taken a big hit too. So and I don't know about you two gents, but I definitely feel like the Storm and the Dogs just haven't been in as good as form over the past month, roughly. So they've definitely been hurting.
Yep.
It'll be an interesting game that
for
one.
viewership purposes, I'm really hoping Farlongo's there. He's just absolute dynamo. I love watching him play. I do think Melbourne are desperate for that X factor because, again, you can't just rely on Xavier Coates to just literally jump on someone's head to score. So, next game. Oh, hang on. Who are we tipping, boys, by the way? Chris, who you got?
Storm. Storm by 20.
Oh, Jackie.
Storm by 6.
Yeah, I'm going to meet halfway. I'm going to say Storm by 10. Yeah, 20. You're crazy.
Bro, the Dogs are not. They're not a genuine contender. Ever since halfway when they brought a certain halfback in and they just ruined their team. And the whole team
I don't know. 20 points, mate. That's big call. Big call. Anyway, Tom will tell us he's saying this podcast. Next game, we got the Wars versus the Panthers. Chris, take it away, mate.
Yeah, couple of big changes for the Wars. Wade Egan, their trusty hooker, he's back. Jackson Ford is also back from suspension. Rocco Berry's out. I think he did that. Was that shoulder? I think he did. He dislocated in the first couple of minutes of round 27. For Penrith, all their big guns are back. Other than Mitch Kenny, he's out. I don't exactly know why he's out, and there's no information on NRL.com. But Brian To'o, Liam Martin is back. Tom Jenkins, he got dropped actually for Port Alamotti.
True.
I think it's going to be try galore for Port Alamotti this weekend. I watched Dallin Watene-Zelezniak last week. Just keep rushing in and getting scored upon. So for the 9 position, Luke Summerton, he will deputise for Mitch Kenny.
Now, what are your thoughts on the lineups here, Jakey?
Yeah, that Mitch Kenny obviously is a surprise out, and that maybe explains that early spell from him that I know was going off in the chat a little bit. We were kind of ready for Nathan Cleary to get a bit of a rest with Schneider on the bench last week, and we saw Kenny disappear. So, yeah, there could be an injury or something going on there. I missed that game, but the chat was keeping me up to date, essentially. Yeah, look, Panthers are essentially ready to roll, I think. This is definitely going to be a scary game for the Warriors. I am cheering on the Warriors hard, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really hope they get a win over there. Full on the New Zealand bandwagon after just getting back from Queenstown. So, yeah, I hope they do a great job. Let's see some like Lika Halasima magic or something, and he just does some youth gun stuff and just makes a great line break and wins it for him or something. Would be really nice. But yeah, scary game for the Warriors. I hope the crowd really, really rock up, which I'm sure they will, and support their team because I'm ready for the Penrith Panthers to really start to shine now. So
yeah, I was also listening to Bloke in the Bar today and / yesterday, and they sort of broke down this game, and they were looking at La Lia, I think his name is. He was the center at the start of the year, and then he's had some injuries, but obviously he's not even in the extended squad. So they've actually opted for Kurt Capewell in the centers, which makes me feel that they're just going to try to match defense with their pungent attack. I'm a bit worried. Again, I'm always skeptical with Kurt Capewell, and I've been proven wrong many times this year, let alone for Warriors, but for Queensland. I just don't know if they've got enough attack to score enough points on this Panthers outfit. Like, I love Alamotti. I think he's a great player. To'o's got another week of rest. Cleary popped off last week. And I'm only speculating here, but with the Mitch Kenny situation, do you boys remember he dislocated that shoulder many, many weeks ago and they thought he potentially was going to be out for the season? Maybe to do with that. Absolutely no sources. But just gone off the top of my head, that could be a correlation there for sure. Now, Wade Egan, huge inclusion. Love Lecker starting on the field. I think that's great. But I just don't. And obviously, Fisher Harris, revenge game against his former club. He's going to want to have a big game against Leota, that's for sure. But I think the Panthers are going to be too strong. I'm backing the Panthers in reluctantly for a tipping purpose, not because of my heart, from a tipping purpose. I'm going to say they're going to win about 16 points. Unfortunately. Who you got, Jake? What's the score?
Warriors, 4 points.
Love it. Chris, who we got?
Yeah, Tigers are out. That's why I've got a new cap on my cap. Panthers by 20.
Yeah, well, Jake, we can go up the wires because we're fellow New Zealanders at heart. So,
So many Penrith haters on this podcast.
Screw the Panthers. Ain't no bandwagon.
Imagine 5.
Oh my
The
god,
Black Panthers. That'd be insane.
Imagine 6 grand finals in a row. That's even crazier to say. It's LeBron James-esque. Always drops a mention here. Next game here, and this was an interesting one. I think it's one of the matchups of the round, to be honest. Sharkies versus Roosters. So, Chris, take away, mate.
Yeah, I think Sharks, if I'm not mistaken. They get some good troops back. Braden Trindle, he's back from his ankle injury. Britain Nikora, who scorned me in my final couple of rounds with his suspension in Supercoach, he's back, and he'll be back on the right second row position. Daniel Atkinson, he goes back to reserves. And yeah, that's pretty much for the Sharks. Roosters, I think they're also pretty much 1 to 17 from last week. Sam Walker, Teddy, Noah, Daniel Tupou, they're all there in the back line. So pretty formidable.
Yeah, they're ready to rock and roll. Now, Jakey, who are you picking here, mate? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I reckon this is going to be a fantastic game. Ready for a lot of points out of this one. Weather dependent, I guess. I reckon this is a very tough game. I'm going to say I do think the Sharks are somehow going to manage a win on this one. So I reckon the Roosters have been in some good form recently, definitely. And they look very dangerous. But I'm going to tip the Sharks. Sharks by 12.
Sharks by 12. Oof.
Yeah,
Chris,
Nico
any
Hines
other
has avoided
comments?
that suspension.
Yeah, Nico.
Yeah, no. It's hard to know, really. I think it depends on which Sharks team turns up and which Roosters team turns up. If it's the same Roosters team from the last 2 weeks, absolute perilous form. Their back line, we said this last week, Ryan, absolutely elite, passing ball out the back. And, Noah scored, I think, 5 tries. And Daniel Tupou's just been sitting there doing absolutely nothing. I think Daniel Tupou is playing against Sione Katoa, who's not a noted aerialist. It could be the Sam Walker to, kick on the 5th to Daniel Tupou hat trick, super. But at the same time, it's also Cronulla Park. Shark Park, apologies. And the Sharks always play well there. Mulatalo, Eero's back for his second game. That left side attack is so good as well for the Sharks. It's hard to know. Yeah. Yep. Also, both good big forward packs. I guess it's just who just plays good football and just doesn't drop the ball, which we know both teams can do randomly out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one, eh? Like, I'm just going to quickly mention as well, Kale Eero, I brought him in 2 weeks ago, did jack all for me. I should have gone Marky Mark, had an inkling, but the Kale Eero pod against everyone else wasn't too successful, but he's looking good eye test-wise, obviously, with that torn pec he's come back from. Sharks, I don't know. Nico Hines absolutely dodged a bullet, obviously got downgraded with his potential, I think it was a grade 2 charge. So yeah, he got that downgrade so he could play this week. Is Trindle healthy enough? He might even get subbed off halfway through the game. Like obviously playing a bit of a risk there with his injury. That's a bit worrying for the Sharkies. I want to, before I give my tip, I want to ask both of you the same question here. What are your thoughts on the game being played at Shark Park? So they've only got like 12,000 people at this stadium maximum. Should the game be played somewhere else to get more fans in? Me personally, I think it's a no-brainer. We're quite lucky here on the Gold Coast. We got Seabass 25,000. I think that's like the perfect number for like occupancy for like that type of game. But yeah, 12,000, 50% of what the Gold Coast could have. I think it's pretty piss poor for a meant to be one of the best codes in the world, let alone for an Australian context. What are your thoughts, Jake, on Shark Park being a viable finals option?
I think the Sharks should get their choice. If they want to play there, they deserve their home final. Then they get to choose where they want to play, essentially. If they decided as a club they were happy to take it elsewhere, then so be it, for whatever motive that may be, obviously within reason. But no, I'm all for it. It should be at Shark Park. If the stadium's not big enough, I don't know, get some funding from the NRL. Gives the NRL a good reason to upgrade it, help them out in some way. I'd bit out of touch with all the conversations around Shark Park and whether it's due for an upgrade and all that type of stuff. But yeah, all for it. It should be held at Shark Park. They finished in 5th spot. They deserve that.
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I did read some of the news articles regarding Shark Park. Like, people are they're just setting up portaloos for people to go pee on the hill, and it takes like, half of the first, half of a match to, to get a pie and a beer. It's just the infrastructure is pretty shite. But, I totally agree with Jakey, man. Like, seriously, like, either, if you're the NRL and you have an issue with this, you stipulate this at the beginning of the season. Go, look, you make the finals, guys. I don't care. You guys are playing it at a Cord Stadium,
Yeah.
But if you don't say anything about it, hey, you guys should have had the foresight. Sharks are always going to want to play at Shark Park. It's an absolute fortress for them. A Cord Stadium, I don't think they have the same, same result. Also, Cronulla fans also, I can't imagine bothering to make the way up to Homebush for Cord Stadium.
I think it's like the equivalent of like going Goldie to Brisbane. So like I can't be bothered going to Suncorp half the time, so I can understand for a Sharks fan the exact same logic. I do empathise, but at the end of the day, it is a finals game. Like the club isn't getting money, so maybe because the NRL gets the funding or they get the profits out of that stadium revenue that's coming in for the finals, maybe if they continue to do so, maybe it's a 50-50 split. The revenue goes to both the Sharks and the NRL, not just 100% the NRL or however percentage it works. Obviously, the stadium gets its own funding, whatever. But yeah, $12,000, mate. It's poor. Like, you might have 30,000 fans lined up and you can only say 1 in 3 can go in. Like, that's pretty wild. Like, it's, like Bush League. That's like going down to local Burleigh Bears, essentially, down here and just like get everyone stacked up on a hill. Like,
I'll give you a counter example, actually. Down in Tasmania here, the Tas Jack Jumpers, our local NBL team, our stadium, the deck is only 5,000 people. Like, it's to the stage where, like, I remember when I went and it was 5,000 people, and it's just deafening because it's a small stadium. It's such a great atmosphere. As last thing you want to do is put it at a Cord Stadium, 72,000 capacity, and turns out only 30,000 people rock up to it. I think you would much prefer to have that, like that real mentality, siege mentality, where it's only really your fans who are diehard. They're the ones who are going to go cheer, unlike, Jake's mum and dad. I apologise for the shade. Random drive-by. It just came to my mind.
They wouldn't cheer for the Sharks, mate. They wouldn't be cheering for the Sharks, I promise.
Well, they weren't cheering for the Gold Coast Titans either.
Nah, just quietly. They were just quietly cheering.
So, and it's great. And more than that, like, it's not as if, the Tas government's gone, oh, we're going to expand the stadium to increase that 5,000 capacity. We now just have, like, there's now just membership wait line lists, to get a club season membership ticket if you want it, and it just becomes more and more exclusive, and it just builds into that Jack Jumpers brand. I've kind of felt so therefore as a result, I what I'm trying to get at really is that the aim is you really just want to have just your supporters really and nobody else, and if it has to be smaller, that's fine.
Okay, counter argument, and obviously yours might be a bit more niche, but is there any other venue within, let's say, half an hour that is bigger?
No, that's the truth is that's the biggest venue that's available. Unless
So,
they literally held at Bellerive, they changed Bellerive Oval and just put a basketball court there. Then you could fit like 15,000.
which is like 20 minutes away, has like 22,000, which is like just more than Seabus. There's your solution. There's an extra 10,000, and more than likely you're going to be all Sharks anyway. So imagine having an extra 10,000 Shark supporters there. Wouldn't that even be better again? And you're
fair.
Like, again, fair enough. You go to a court, I understand. Like, it looks shit on TV all the time. Like, you see the Rabbitohs and their poor fan base, slander to Morgan, you're welcome. And you're watching them on TV, and they have like 5,000 supporters there. And it looks so crap. But obviously, finals, people make the effort. They spend the extra money, and they'll go to these bigger stadiums, and especially out in the middle of butt fuck nowhere. Easy way of saying it. Yeah, it's a tricky conversation, but I think you nailed on the head, Chris. It has to be said from the start of the season, and just, this is what's happening. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're in Sydney, we're just going to Allianz, or we're going to a core. If you're in Queensland, we're going to Suncorp.
Yeah. One more small thing as well, to counterpoint that, here's the thing. If you're a Sharks player, you like that you play at the same stadium, you know where you sit, this is your locker, you know where the grass is good, you know where the ball doesn't bounce well, at 6 p.m, whenever the game is, this is exactly where the wind kind of blows most often than not on a Saturday night. I think it's these small, tiny things that, when the game gets tough and everybody's tired and fatigued, instinct kicks in. And you just, all these little tiny things, for example, again, even if you went up a little 20 minutes more early, it's just a different stadium. It's a different feel. And sometimes it just feels a bit foreign and just can pull you off. It probably doesn't matter, honestly. It's the same way, even though, Panthers are going across the ditch, going 2 hours forward, we still think that they'll probably most likely win, more likely, or still the favourites, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's definitely a interesting conversation, and I think listeners, that's where we want to see you guys on socials, hear your perspective on it. And again, I think for the greater good of the game, yes, more fans the better, obviously, but I understand what you guys are saying. Like, it's a fortress, and I think you nailed on the head there, just Chris. Its familiarity is that 5-10% better for the players, probably, and that's what the advantage that they get. And they've deserved that advantage. So, yeah, fair call. But, guys, we want to hear you guys in the comments on socials. What do you guys think? Should they be going to a big Sydney stadium, or do they have all the rights to stay where they are for at least this year anyway? So, next game. We got, I think, obviously, a bit biased here, boys. And I think, Jake, you probably agree here, mate. Raiders versus Broncos. Chris, take it away, mate.
Yeah, this is my most favourite game of the round. Yeah, the Raiders, there's too many ins and outs, basically. So I'll just quickly summarise by saying the entire New South Wales Cup team is out, and the Raiders, first 17 are back in, pretty much. So, your favourites, your KO Weeks, your cult favourites like Jamal Fogarty, Ethan Strange, Josh Papali. Apparently he had an ankle injury kind of scare in training last week, but he's starting up, and Hudson Young, Joey Taps, they're all there. Corey Horsburgh, he's not captain this week. Oh man, I laughed so hard last week when he did a captain's challenge. I think in the first, was it 10 minutes, and he challenged like him stripping the board. It was so clear. I don't know what he was doing. Yeah, I was like, dude. Anyways, Broncos super dangerous. Rishi Drinkwater at the one. Shivasaki's been recalled. He probably hasn't been doing no drinking this week. Dean Mariner, he's on the right wing. Sadly, Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds, they're not back yet. So Billy Walters and Ben Hunt, who's been fantastic at halfback. And then the rest of the forwards are pretty much the same, really. Yeah.
Jakey, what are your thoughts on this clash of the Titans?
Yeah, look, it is going to be a very, very great game to watch this one. Sunday afternoon. Raiders, obviously, minor prems, best team at the moment, essentially. But as we all been watching, just the Broncos are just on fire. So yeah, as Chris said, this is my favorite game as well of the round of the week. Very excited for this one. Yeah, it'll be a great contest. So yeah, really torn about who's probably going to get up for this one. I think Raiders obviously having a rest pretty much of their whole 17 will really help them. And it is down in Canberra. So yeah, it is kind of hard not to look past the Raiders, but I want the Broncos to win this so bad. So I'm going to have, the Broncos by 6 for this one. Just going to put that tip out there early.
Yeah, I love that. I'm frothing this game, and obviously, you nailed on the head, Chris. There is murmurs that Papali'i hurt his ankle, rolled his ankle pretty badly at the field. So if he goes out, Corey Hawes was straight to prop, and then you got probably Morgan Smithy straight into lock for Corey Horsburgh, and then Matty Nicholson just comes straight to the bench. So pretty lucky how they can just shift those boys around. As you mentioned as well, with those Broncos guns, if they can get through this week and win, that's going to be huge. They can almost pretty much guarantee Ezra and Reno will be back in 2 weeks' time, which is going to be fantastic. And I think, imagine a week off for Reece Walsh. He's been doing so much heavy lifting for the Broncos. It's just unreal. So, and obviously, Big Payne, Haas, and Carrigan doing their own rights there as well. But I think Reece Walsh and the class he's in and the form that he's in and the amount of aura that he's having with the toilet water. I thought the try celebration, I don't know if you guys picked it up, but when he scored the try, he did the toilet bowl try celebration. I was pissing myself. I thought that was the funniest thing ever. Reece Plumbing, I'm all in. I'm backing the Broncos in, mate. Broncos by 10. Broncos by 10. Reece Walsh, 500 super coach points.
Yeah, it's hard to know who will win this one. It's a very close call. Both teams are very, very good. It's like you said, just Broncos in absolute fire at the moment. I'm gonna just hedge my bets. I'll just say that look, if the Broncos want to win, I think they have to be ahead at halftime because the Raiders come home very, very strong. I think they're the best performing team in the second half. I do, but I think I'm gonna just tip Raiders. I really want them to win. I want Ricky to win another premiership. I think he's a really good coach. So I'm going to say Raiders by 6.
Yeah, wow. Okay, interesting. So 2 Bronx, 1 Raider. Looks like you're getting kicked off the podcast now, Chris. So it's good knowing you, mate. Good insight.
It's definitely a fair call there as well, Chris. Even to have Jed still on the wing, obviously sad for Savage, who I believe is out for the season now too. But yeah, Tamale's come back with the right timing there. And then, it would be also, a bit of a fairy tale to have Ricky with his son as well. So, it is nice. But the Broncos can beat them this week and they can meet in the grand final. They can have a nice little rematch. So that'll be good.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that either.
Yeah, exactly right. I think if you're a Queensland, you're probably going for the Broncos, obviously. But I think everyone else has gone for the Raiders. So, yeah, either or. You can't really go wrong for the grand final, but it could be a grand final rematch in a couple of weeks' time, which would be very interesting. And I think it's, again, we mentioned this last week, Chris, but I think it's kind of good to really dissect these games and really go through because now we're into the real thick of it with Supercoach. This is where the diehards are coming out. This is classics done, draft is done. Now we're into the final series, and I'll give a quick little insight to the listeners here what it is. So you got your hooker, front row, second row, halfback, 5'8", wing/center, only one, fullback, and your flex position. So one position per spot. Your captain gets triple points, and your vice captain gets double points as a new concept, which I think is unreal. But there's also one thing to note as well. I can't just pick every single position as a Broncos player. You can only have 2 players per team. So that's really interesting how the team structure is going to happen as well. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago in my first sort of look at the concept on what sort of players I want to be targeting. I would like to hear your thoughts as well, boys. It's really tempting to go like, let's get Cameron Munster in. Let's get Harry Grant in. But the issue is Melbourne versus Dogs. Probably going to be an absolute slugfest. Yes, they're probably the two best players in that position. But will they get the points? I don't know. Really hard to say. You might be looking at or potentially targeting the 5 to 8 teams because they're not the best defensively historically. Obviously, they could turn it on in the finals. We can't say definitively that, e.g. Panthers. What is your first strategy looking at this, Jakey?
Look, I've been a bit naive on this finals thing. So, do we get the opportunity to trade after this week?
Yes, sorry, I'll quickly add to as well. I'll answer your question. Each week, unlimited trades each week, and no salary cap, which is also important to note. No salary cap, unlimited trades, triple points a captain, double points a vice captain, 2 players only from one team. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know you were just noting on top 4 teams versing each other, and then like bottom 4 teams that will be versing each other essentially, or like 5 to 8 there. I'm just going with the hot favorites. I'm sticking to the guys who deliver on most weeks. Like at the end of the day, they're going to be stepping up and providing their best kind of football moving forward. Like I definitely understand that maybe the teams that are sitting 5 to 8 will be fighting a lot more because they know it's a knockout kind of round. But even so, like I feel like the top 4, they'll be fighting for that week off. That week off will do wonders. I know it's something that Bellamy is always fighting for. It's definitely a good touch what they've done, just having no more than 2 of the same kind of club in your team. I think I didn't read that initially, and I went to have, I think, 3 or 4 Storm players in my team, and all of a sudden it was all broken, so I had to reset. So I was going heavy on the Storm. So yeah, it's definitely been fun to kind of put a team together. Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to start sharing or how we want to approach it, but yeah,
I want to hear Chris's thoughts on his strategy, and then I think we'll go position by position, and we'll go sort of round table why we're thinking that play. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Chris, we'll hear your thoughts on your initial strategy.
Yeah, look, I haven't thought too hard on this. I think you guys have said most of the major points. Really, one, we're looking at matchup. We're looking at if it's a day game or not as well. And pretty much, if I think you're the favored team to win, I'm going to probably pick a player from each of those teams as well. The one that's the only other difference, actually, I would say probably is you want to probably. I'm thinking about players who traditionally might not be playing as much this in the regular season, but in this final season, they're going to play extended minutes. The one that comes to mind specifically is Aaron Clark, who has been averaging about 50 to maybe 60 minutes. Last week he went massive and he just based 100. Like I'll just quickly start off and just talk about 2RF. I think the 2 top players probably are, or 3 players are Eli Katoa, Hudson Young, and also ECAT and Hudson Young. They're a little bit try reliant. Even if they don't score a try, they average about 60 or 70. If Aaron Clark doesn't score a try, he's probably basing 90 to 100 against Penrith, unless they get absolutely blown out and they spend way too much time on the sticks, really, for him to to accumulate base. So that's the one thing that's going to be slightly different. I'm looking at. That's the only place in the entire game to our ref where that's relevant, because I think in front row forward, there's only one player that you can pick, and that is Haas. The only person who also will play huge extended minutes as a result will be Joey Taps, and his base will go up as well significantly. But I don't think you can choose Joey Taps over Haas, unless he randomly just jags a try or 2, and that's just pure luck. Yeah, I'm going to just play the statistics.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I can go straight to second row then. So who are you picking, Chris? Aaron Clark. Okay. Jake, what are you thinking?
I've gone Hudson Young.
Yeah, why Hudder?
Because I have two other Storm players and I can't get Ellie Cat.
That's interesting. That's a good leak. Now, Chris, you've kind of talked me into Aaron Clark. I was with you, Jakey. I had Hudson Young. Broncos at the best of times have been quite inconsistent. Obviously, were pretty good defensively last week, but yeah, Raiders obviously they're a gun attacking team, and on a dry track, I think Hudson Young can do some damage. Pierre Cora's rocks and diamonds. He's a part of the CEO of Reece Walsh's club there. Yeah, Aaron Clark. I'm kind of liking that now. Like he's had cramps almost every single week for like the past 2 months, but last week he must have bloody had 20 milligrams of creatine or something because he came back strong, and that base, yeah, that's a huge call.
Yeah, look, I
Oh,
mean, I like Hudson Young as well,
I don't know.
because when the tough go, when the going gets tough, the big games, he likes to come in and contribute, run out of half, and he's one of those fearless players. Like often when the game gets serious, a lot of people just tuck it underneath their wing and they don't offload anymore. Hudson Young just likes to do weird random stuff, kick the ball, still offload, and sometimes you've seen it with Payne Haas. Sometimes in the big games, he'll when he's New South Wales versus Queensland, there's just no offloads happening anymore. And those really small little points that accumulate, they just disappear. So
Mm.
if Hudson Young jags a try, it could just be 110, just a mammoth effort. His base could also go up if he just makes more runs, just makes more tackles. But I think that just based on last week from Aaron Clark, the guy's just a monster. Yeah, PPM monster.
Yeah, that's really kind of selling me, eh? Because Hudson Young in recent times has had some pretty mid scores because he had that period near Origin time. I think it was game one ish. He was just popping off 100 after 100 after 100 after 100. And I remember Jake on the podcast, me and you talked in length about Hudson Young and trying to get him in. He got up to like 850K or something at one stage. Yeah, it's really like you go huge upside with Hudson Young, or you go more of a safe bet with the floor of Aaron Clark. Oh, I don't know. Jake, give me one more sell for Hudson Young.
Well, I guess if it's between Huddy Young and Aaron Clark for you, don't get me wrong. Yeah, sure, Aaron Clark might get a lot more minutes, but if we get the Panthers of old and they just turn up and absolutely decide to demolish Warriors, yeah, I don't see many Warriors players getting too many points. So it's going to be dependent on the Panthers team that rock up. Are we about to see the same Panthers team that we've seen over the past 4 years that have won 4 grand finals? Yeah, we've definitely noticed a Penrith team that hasn't been as strong this year. But yeah, you listen to the commentary around the place. Even Joey Johns, he's come out saying that if there's one team that can win it outside the top four, like for the first time ever or whatever it is, he's saying it's Penrith Panthers. So, and everyone knows their capabilities. They had a nice resting last week. Warriors aren't the same team as they have been this year. Yeah, they've lost their like star in Metcalf and their halfback, and yeah, they just don't seem as strong. Probably the only favoritism their way is that it's over in New Zealand. So, but if Panthers rock up, don't get me wrong, Warriors will be getting some ball, but is it enough to kind of outdo an 80-minute guaranteed Huddy Young down in Canberra that's just had a nice rest? So, but yeah, look, I think I said earlier, I'm ready for everybody's final seem to be quite similar, and yeah, I think we've nailed probably the three second row options
Yeah,
between Ellie Cat, Young, and Aaron Clark.
yeah,
I was definitely considering Aaron Clark as well, but he's definitely not going to be a man who gets 80 minutes unless like there's just some crazy injuries to the rest of the team on the night. So for me, it was between Cat and Young, and yeah, just two 80-minute men who
yeah,
are definitely beasts and can score tries.
yeah,
So, and yeah, I went Young because I have two other Storm players in my team.
yeah. Fair. I'm think the Panthers do scare me. Panthers do scare me. Will I pick another? I've got another Raider in my team, which I won't leak just yet. But if I do need to get another Raider in, that I'm maybe like a Joey Tarpany in flex position, if that's actual smoke and mirrors there. But maybe we'll see.
Well, just to change it up real quick before we move
Yeah.
on, If you were to pick one game out of this round that you 100% had to pick the right team to win, what team are you putting all your money on to win this week?
Panthers beating the Warriors.
And I feel like that would probably be the consensus for a lot of people.
But as
So, yeah,
Chris was
if
saying,
you're-
though, he doesn't need to score tries to be good. Like, all he's doing is running, offloading, tackle busting, tackling. So if he's
yeah, but
playing
they do
70
need the
minutes,
ball, though. They
yeah,
do need the ball in their hands. And
but he's not
if
relying on getting a try or a line break. He doesn't do that. Like, that's not his
correct,
game. So
yeah,
it's
very very
It's a
correct
tricky one.
too.
It's a
Aaron
tricky
Clark's
one.
not a bad play at all. But
now
yeah,
I think
the
this is
Panthers.
also important to note because there's only one player per position. Who will be picked more? Hudson Young's probably going to be 50% of teams, you reckon?
Looking at his ownership percentage, it says 35% at the moment.
Can we see that now? Is that available?
I can see that. Yeah, I'm scrolling down, and I can see the top 10 players in terms of ownership.
Interesting. Okay,
So
let's see if I can
I'm
refresh my
just
screen.
sitting on my team in finals on the field. I scroll down, and
Oh,
yeah,
yep.
I can see
Okay,
most
yep.
owned.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so
yeah,
like Hudson Young,
he
Ali
is the
Katoa,
top
both
second row.
35. Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting to note.
Okay, I'm gonna move to hooker. I'm gonna get this podcast going. It was a choice for me between Brayley or or Harry Grant, just because Grant's playing the Bulldogs. I just worried there's not going to be too many points. The points are all just going to be from Melbourne 20-0. I've just picked Brayley only because a few weeks ago when Jerome Hughes went down, uh, Harry Grant put a masterclass against Roosters. I think maybe they're susceptible, to really, really good hookers. And if Blake Brayley just runs out of half and, jags a try or two, and then he just picks up, 50 tackles as well, just a mammoth game from him, I reckon he's going to outscore Harry Grant.
Jake, who do you reckon?
Yeah, so I was tossing up between the two, and I've gone Harry.
Team Melbourne. Why Harry?
Team Melbourne. He's had 2 weeks off due to suspension, obviously, but at the end of the day, that is still 2 weeks rest.
Yep.
He's not injured. He just did a bad tackle or whatever it was. I can't recall now. So here's the captain. I'm ready for him to rock up. Bellamy's going to get his team in form. If you don't like Harry for whatever reason, I do agree with Chris that Blake Brayley is the other man to pick for sure. Blake Brayley, the chat towards the end of the season on him was phenomenal. Everyone just could see his running game and how good he was playing as well. They're at Shark Park, so yeah, there's a lot to speak for Blake as well. But yeah, I'm going Team Harry, mate.
Yeah, I like that. I've currently got Blake Brayley, but I do like your compelling argument, Jake. And I think looking at team list now, because I've obviously made this pre-team list Tuesday, if Suo-Falongo is named, because I'll be able to make that change, if Falongo is named at fullback, Harry Grant's coming straight in. I can just see him hovering around the ruck. Falongo is just going to be doing a step and getting a line break, so those line break assists are going to be more prevalent. Yeah, it's definitely a toss-up for sure. Like Shark Park, we've always talked about that in length. But yeah, that's my caveat. If Falongo is named, he's in for me. So yeah, but currently Blake Brayley. But again, it's a 2-horse race. Boys, go straight to prop. Do we even need to discuss it? Payne Haas?
Payne
Yeah.
Haas.
Yep.
I
Say
mean,
no more.
he's 80% owned. What the hell is everyone else smoking? Not picking Payne Haas. Like, who are you picking? Joey Tarpanay? Are you picking... Or maybe Aaron Clark, potentially? Yeah, AFB,
Yeah,
trash.
AFC.
Trash. No chance. Yeah, Payne Haas. Don't have to comment. Everyone knows how good he is. He's an absolute gun. Set and forget. Yeah, there's no point of difference there. Don't be, as we talk in school for business, the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. So now, halfback position, Cleary, pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Pretty much got the best matchup. Absolutely went nuclear last week, even with the pump fake of the boys on the bench. Again, best matchup. Some boys are back. They're looking pretty good. Half of them arrested, coming in some form. Warriors looking very shaky of recent times, even though it's going to be in Auckland. Yeah, I think Cleary. I think it's a no-brainer. Who would be your second pick, boys?
Haven't given it much thought, but off the top of my head, Hines, Sam Walker.
Yeah, I'd be leaning more Sam Walker. Who do you reckon, Chris, as your second?
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd probably say Hines as well. Yeah.
Out of spite, Nico Hines, my nemesis. You had made an appearance on my
How'd you
podcast, and you are not going in my finals team. You are going out of week 1 of the finals. Bye-bye, Sharkies.
Fortunately, I can re-pick my whole team next week. But yeah, no, I haven't given much more for other than Cleary. He's my VC.
Yeah. Now, I think the next 2 positions are going to be a bit more hotly contested. And it'll be interesting to hear who you guys got. You might be the same as me, but 5'8", I've got Ethan Strange. Jake, I remember again the podcast a while ago, we're looking at 5'8" options, and then we just went through the data, and Ethan Strange holy shit, he's actually a gun. And recent times, you can remember the Penrith Panthers game, did that full field to KO Weeks. He's just got that dog in him. I love Ethan Strange. Who you got, Chris?
Yeah, it was a toss-up between Ethan Strange, who I thought was going to be a smoky, but clearly he's not if you've got him. But Cam Munster, I'm just hoping he puts in an origin performance. Yeah.
Yeah, who you got, Jake?
Yeah, exact same boat. Was tossing up Strange as Chris said, perfect word, little smoky. Thought many people might not look at him, but yeah, I've landed on Munster. There's my 2 Storm boys.
Yeah, I like that. And again, Munster could easily be swapped in, 100%. But I'm just worried about the Dogs, eh? The Dogs' defense has been proven to be pretty good. And Munster in recent weeks not having Pappen. Again, if Farlongo's there, a lot could change for me. Again, I could go straight back to Grant and Munster with Farlongo. I'm worried about their attack. I'm very worried about their attack. Is Munster going to break through and step 10 guys? Maybe. He's done it in the past. But yeah, pretty hard one. But yeah, so you got 2...
I think Munster scored 79 last week against
79.
the Broncos team that spanked them.
True.
So, yeah, no Jerome Hughes when it comes to the main man who's getting the ball and around that middle, it's going to be Munster demanding it.
Yep.
All it takes is a couple of kicks codes. There's a few try assists for you. So,
but Jake, I think the issue you're going to be running into now, my friend, is that who's your pod? It might be at centre wing. I haven't heard that one yet.
I wouldn't even say I have a pod. I'm just going for all the stars, mate, and they're just going to deliver for me. Just safe.
But if
across
everyone's got all the stars, my friend, where are you going to get your points from?
I don't know.
That's why you're ranked
maybe the vice and the captain.
True.
Maybe the vice and the captain. So
We'll
that
see.
double triple point special.
Yeah, I do like that. All right, centre wing. Now, I've been wanting him for a long time, and I was in a hole in New Zealand at the time, and I couldn't get him because I was literally underground. But Marky Mark, you're making an appearance finally on Who's Your Pappy. He's in scintillating form. Chris, you sort of got me scared now with the Daniel Tupou slam dunking on Katoa's head. But feed the man the ball. Let him cook. Let it ride, I reckon. Let the momentum keep going. Who you guys got, Jakey? Who you got?
Yeah, Nawaka Nitawaze. I've jumped on board, mate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I told you, mate, everyone's going to be having the same finals team.
Yeah.
It's insane.
40%.
There's going to be little things. So, yeah, he's cooking at the moment. Honestly, he is a freak. It wouldn't even surprise me if he gets one of the wingers of the year spots. He's just been sensational. So, especially for his first season in the NRL as well. It's a shame he can't lock down one the rookie of the year. I believe he got out, he's been ruled out for that. But yeah, it's Mark for sure for me at this stage. I haven't had him pretty much all season as well. So I'm excited to have him, watch him score big. It'll be great.
Who you got, Chris?
I got Case McGluhands.
What?
Yeah.
Wild.
I hope you do. I actually hope you do, Chris.
Yeah, he
I
is.
wish you did. I hope you do. This will be
Like-
so good.
Look, seriously, it was like last week. I just watched DWZ just keep going in on and just allowing Lehigh Hopewadi just to score, just untouched in the wing, in the corner every single time. The first two, like in the first 15, 20 minutes of that game. What was I going to say? I wanted to put it actually on Tom Jenkins, but today I just saw it was Paul Alamotti, and I was just like, I don't know. Like, it's a 4 p.m. game. Like, usually it's 3 and 5, and sometimes I get my times mixed up. I was just worried I'm just going to miss kickoff, and I'm just going to forget who I'm supposed to pick, and I'm just going to accidentally pick Alamotti, and I'm just going to find out Tom Jenkins is playing and Paul Alamotti's not playing. So I went, okay, I'll just put it on Casey McLean. Yeah, he's been scoring heaps of tries and stuff like that, and it's a little bit like, and my thing is this. I have no idea where the ball is going in that Roosters backline. It could be left, it could be right, but I can tell you exactly where the ball is going and where it's not leaving once it gets there. And that's Casey McLean. It just ends there.
That's true. And I think that's a good point too, Chris, as well. Casey McLuhan's is probably going to be up against Kurt Capewell. So he's going to probably want to feast on that. So that's not a bad pod. Might have to steal that. So
I completely forgot about. I didn't even realize. I didn't think about Kurt Capewell as well. But yeah, I totally knew that. Yeah, totally. That was my plan.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so Jake, you had Marky Mark. I had Marky Mark. Chris, Casey McLuhan's. Who would have thought? Quite poetic, boys. We've sort of gone full circle here on tackles and tinnies. Kind of like it. Now, I reckon we're all going to have the same guy. Is it Reese Lightning? Reese Plumbing? Yeah.
He's my C.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I've got Teddy at fullback, and I've actually got Walsh in my flex.
Okay. Interesting.
Just-
Who you in your
just
flex
jump
position,
early.
Chris?
Teddy.
Okay. I'm not going Tedesco because notoriously the Sharks have nerfed every single fullback. So I'm opting not to go Tedesco, and I've actually gone Dylan Edwards for that matchup. So sell me on Tedesco. The future Dally M winner, Jake. Why Tedesco?
Once again, I just reckon the Roosters are in great form. I know earlier I was saying that I do see the Sharks winning, but Roosters have just been on. And if they decide to turn up, then yeah, Teddy will be obviously a hot chance of scoring well. Yeah, he might not, but it's the exact same thing with kind of Walshy too. I feel like my two fullbacks with Walsh and Tedesco at the moment, both the teams have just been in really good form the past few weeks. So yeah, happy to put my confidence in them too.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Chris?
Yeah, Teddy. He's the number one Supercoach player in the competition. Good form. He's the one that can go really, really big. His ceiling's even bigger than Edwards, 189 only a few weeks ago. Yeah, you make a great point with the Sharks in terms of their fullback killers. But Edwards, in comparison, not as good form. Cleary keeps stunting his points. He's often he's often just presenting on that right hand side as a decoy, and then they'll pass it left to Yo, and it goes through the hands to Cleary, to Lungy, and then McLean. So therefore, I just worried, and he's dropped a few of those high balls recently, and he just hasn't been grossing as many meters as well, and taking as many hit ups and stuff like that. So therefore, just go Teddy. There's a higher chance he'll go big. Yeah.
It's a tough decision, eh? It's actually so tough. Yeah, I love Tedesco, but if it wasn't the Sharks, literally any other team, if it just wasn't the Sharks, he'd be instantly in my team. Is there anyone else besides Tedesco and Edwards?
Who do you think is going to win out of Sharks and Roosters? I forget who you tipped.
I don't think I gave my pick, actually. I think the Roosters win. I just don't think Tedesco goes 120. Does Edwards? Probably not. But yeah, Tedesco's flaws are so good, eh? It's like he's getting 70.
Mate, I gave you my tip. The Wires are winning by 4 or 6 or whatever I said. So yeah, you don't want Edwards, mate. You don't want Edwards in there.
That's true. Oh, it's tough. I probably will change my mind, be a little pussy, and go with the crowd because I'm too nervous.
Every finals team the same. Follow the trend. Come on, mate.
Kiss method. Okay, that's fair. Now, boys, captaincies and vice captains. Obviously, there's no looping, so it's literally just gun ho vibe. Who's feeling hot? And tell you who's feeling smoking hot right now? Reese Plumbing. He's my captain. We got any differences here? Straight
Yeah,
in.
he's my captain too.
Yeah. Okay. And
Nah,
I'm
I've
assuming.
got a difference. Sorry, I was nodding to difference.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
He's my vice captain at the moment, Reese.
Okay. Who's your
Yeah.
captain then, Jake?
Nathan Cleary.
But he's going to lose.
Yeah.
New Zealand Warriors.
Yeah. It's gonna be 44-40.
Oh.
I like the way you think. Yeah, exactly. Dylan Edwards, 200 points. Thank you for proving my point. Now I'm rattled.
Double.
Who's your VC, Chris?
It's Nathan Cleary.
No Tedesco.
Nah, I just think they're going to go. There's a very good chance they just go big against New Zealand. Yeah. The only reason I haven't put the C on him is just in case the game is close, and just in case the Warriors show up, against, at home, big Waz crowd and stuff like that. Yeah. And also just in case he gets jet lagged or something like that. Or he just doesn't get involved in the points, as in he's the first receiver, and then Talangi or Edward gets all the points, something like that.
Yep.
So I think that if somebody's going to get all the points, it's going to be Walsh. It has to be Walsh. Either he gets nothing or he's going to go massive out of Rocks or Diamonds.
Yeah. CEO, baby. The CEO of Rocks and Diamonds. Yeah, I've got Walsh as my C, and then my vice captain, I've currently got Edwards. So we'll see. The Edwards could be changed out, could go with the crowd, do the Jake model, and just stick with the pack. But yeah, I could even just go absolutely smoke. And if Farlongo gets into the team, I actually might just pick Farlongo up flex and just have a punt. Chuck him with a VC, see what happens. I mean, he's not super coach proven at all, but again, there's so little room to make a splash. Why not just vibe? Sue is the most vibey player with Reece Walsh in the league, I reckon. So we will see.
He has no base. That's my problem.
No base. I'm aware.
Yeah,
I know.
That's why. I mean, it's like jumping on Weeks. Yeah, I'm not against it. Weeks is such a vibey player too, and he could go massive. You just don't know when he's going to go massive. But fun. Yeah, that's why we do it.
Yeah, that's 100%. So that's interesting. So again, whoever gets eliminated or gets the bye next week, we reload, we go again. So it'll be interesting to see how the strategies work. And again, obviously, you guys talked in great depth there. Now, that's the final series. Now, Chris, you've done a fantastic job, and I actually haven't gone through the document. So while I'm stalling and getting you to take this next section, I'm going to quickly go look through that document, and you are going to tell us what homework you have done.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. So I thought I'd do an analysis on how well you, Adam, Jake, Andy, and I, the co-hosts of this pod, went this season with our captaincy. This whole season we always theorize random things. We're like, I'm just gonna put the captaincy on Haas. Would I have done better, or should just put it on May or something like that really early on? And we're all just making shit up really. So I was like, why don't we just have a look and just see what would I have been better if I just put the captaincy on Teddy, the entire season. And pretty much what I found was, yes, for Jake, sadly, you would have done better this season in terms of your captaincy averages if you had just simply put it on Teddy or Haas for that matter. Yeah. So just very briefly, this season, Jake had a average overall captaincy of 87, and Teddy had a average this season of 89 or 88.9. Andy had the second worst. He actually had the second worst captain average at 87.6. So he just beat you by a little bit. Adam was the best, 101, and then Ryan was 101.5. 1.4, just a little bit behind Adam.
Point
Sorry, Adam was
one.
on a 1.5. Yeah. And it's crazy actually because Ryan, you jumped on Reece
Oh
Walsh.
shit! Yeah.
Yeah, and you averaged 136 in the final 7 rounds from round 21 to 27.
Wow. Yeah.
To try to put that in perspective, I had a look at your teams and I basically tallied up the best captain's average you could pick up in round 21 to 27. And that was based on like the highest player in each round in your team. And if you had picked that correctly every single week, you would have only scored or averaged 158.9. So really you were like less than like 20, you were like 20 points off, captain making the ideal dream run. So, and you pretty much went something from like an average of like 85 after round 20 all the way to 101. Yeah, just based on captaining Walsh.
Crazy.
So it was insane. Jake, you and I were pretty good at picking the best captain each week, actually. Both of us got got it right 8 times, actually, out of 27. Yeah. Where we really sucked, actually. So all of us did really, really good in the first 10 rounds and also in the final 7 rounds. But in the middle, when it was like winter and everyone was cold, and I think we just got a bit of a lull during the bye rounds. Adam was still averaging 96 with his captain, and the rest of us were averaging about 75 to 80, 84, really. So that's where we lost a lot of points, really. But in terms of who had the best captaincy overall, in terms of had the best run overall, in terms of how many points did you miss, Ryan, you actually had the best, as in you made the best captains overall. Essentially, you only lost 26% of potential points in terms of picking the best captain each week. Yeah. And that was actually better than Adam. Yeah, who finished third, which we forgot to talk about this whole 1 hour.
I may as well be number 3 in Australia. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No, it means you're good at picking captains, you suck at everything else, and picking all the other players in Supercoach.
Adam would have came first if you gave him your captaincy tips, Ryan.
I did tell him to go Reece Walsh. I did say Reece Walsh.
You go Reece Walsh.
When in doubt, Reece Plummet. So yeah, that's unreal. As you're reading, I'm going through the chart, and I'll post it on YouTube, and you guys can have a little look through. So comprehensive, Chris. Absolutely killed it. And I think the biggest anomaly for majority of us, and you nailed on the head, Chris, is that buy round period, like the origin time, struggled big time, man.
Yeah, I definitely remember struggling really badly. I definitely did real bad as well because I picked Drinky for 14 and also 33 in 2 of those rounds when I really didn't need to. I remember I had like a VC on like Teddy for like 90 or something both times, and I was like, nah, balls to the walls, let's go, baby, Drinky. And then he just got absolutely hammered. I remember by the Finns, I think they lost like 50 to 12, and like Herbie scored 150, and Herbie wasn't my team. I went, I've got to turn off the TV. And then I think I didn't reply to the chat for like 24 hours. You guys had to welfare check me.
Yeah, no, wonderful work from you there, Chris. I can definitely recall some of my scars of maybe some like 55s from Pappy, roughly.
Oh, yeah.
I think one of my worst could have been a 38 from Ellie Cat. Went for a smoky, and yeah, that did not pay off one game. So yeah, I think it is nice to reflect on your captaincy choices throughout the year. So yeah, obviously me and you, I think, went, as you said, did pretty good getting 8 out of 27 or whatever we got. But I also reckon I could have picked at times my lowest scoring player somehow that I managed to captain throughout the season too, which really hurt. So, but yeah, great work, Chris. Really well done.
Yeah, I'd also say just 2 really quick takeaways as well. One, for the listeners, if you guys are like super interested in terms of, going, hey, why did I do well? Especially if you did bad this season, like don't take heart, because elite players, like Timmy Williams, who hosts SE Playbook and was runner up in like was it 2019 or 2020 or something like that. Last year he finished out like outside the top 10K, I think, or barely inside, and this year he finished 500 or 600, and and you have good years and you have bad years. And, Desi Creek, who won Supercoach, I think in 2018 or 19, this year he finished 3,000, and he was really upset about himself as well. He expects himself, he said he expects himself to finish in the top 1K every time, and you just can't have those years. But if you're kind of struggling to go, hey, why did I do bad? Or, you want to do better for next season, a really good tip was maybe just to go evaluate your captaincy scores and just see, did you captain someone right, or did you captain someone bad? And also do the same for the trades, really, and see, hey, why did I trade this person out, and what did I do wrong? And in hindsight, would I have done this again the next year? And then the second takeaway was, Ryan and Jake, we always talk about, just in the first 10 rounds, maybe we should consider captaining a front row forward or 2RF whilst, offenses are still clunky. Turns out that's actually not right. So, for example, in the first 10 rounds, we all averaged something around 93 to 106, all of us, all five of us. And I think half the time was average something like 80 to 90. So it wasn't a huge difference. There was a few things got skewed. All five of us jumped on Pappy for his 182 in round 10 against the Tigers, for example. So those averages got skewed a little bit. But
not all of us, my friend.
Yeah.
I missed out on that captaincy. I remember clearly.
Tears, my friend. But basically, I think it pays, actually, believe it or not, often, to really look at, who the best player is and not just jump on a front row forward. And turns out, at least maybe it could just be this year, where things have been more attacking. And I think the trend is also we're scoring a lot more because of the wingers being way more athletic. 10 years ago, you didn't see people doing, DWZ or Xavier Coates finishes, in the corner, those ridiculous corners. Now every team, if you want to be a winger, you have to be making those finishes. And I think as a result, the score's a lot higher as well. And so therefore, I think you should always, try to captain a fullback or a halfback or centre where possible.
So in other words, to recap, stack the pack method for captaincy with Major Terrell and Big Payne Haas, not the go.
Yep.
Disappointing. It sounded good in theory.
Yeah, but the stats don't add up.
Yeah, analytics. Always trust the numbers. Moneyball time, baby. Jake can understand that one. So now I asked and I posed the question last week, and I've been pondering my thoughts today regarding trades. So bloody 2 years in a row, I'm going to quickly rattle off some players in my team that are absolute dead wood because I've got no trades left. Harry Grant. And then I've had Ruben Garrick. And I've had Jacob Carraz rotting on my bench for the past couple of rounds. And I've had no trades. So I've been real compulsive, and all year I've been channeling my inner money man, Christian Tuipulotu, and at one stage I had so much cash I felt like a Nigerian prince, but we ran out of trades. So my thing that I've learnt the most from this year, and I'll pose the same question to you guys, what have you learnt the most from this year's Supercoach? I need to stop being so impulsive and jumping on to major cash grabs. Karapani, for example. It could have been a guy like Bostock. There's obviously been many guys throughout the season. Christian Tuipulotu when he popped off, or Clint Gutherson when he was popping off at one stage. Not having those impulse buys. Yes, cash generation is so important, but holding trades, especially in the last 5 to 6 rounds, I think I made 3 trades in 7 rounds or something stupid. Like, obviously you have your set team and you just ride it to the end, but I missed out on a lot of points. And I honestly reckon if I was a bit less impulsive and I held an extra, probably say 3 to 5 trades, I honestly think I could have made the top 250. Like, that's how confident I was thinking where I could have gone to. What are your thoughts on that comment, Jake?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be so critical on yourself, mate. You've finished in the high 800s or whatever it is. You've scored like your biggest score you've ever got, like just this week gone. It's like, come on, mate. It's like I reckon just do the same thing next year and try and maybe get a little bit luckier and maybe work on the captaincies or something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't be too critical of yourself. Like, geez, man, I finished 17,921 or whatever it was. So yeah, you had a phenomenal year. So definitely don't be too critical on yourself. Use those trades, mate. You've used them wisely. So I'm in a similar boat. I'm out of trades. I've had Jerome Hughes out for a little bit there. Jacob Carraz, Ruben Garrick over the past few weeks. So yeah, injuries happen, and yeah, that I swear, just everyone was going down as well. Like about 6 weeks ago, where like all the chats and all we were talking about was like
Oh,
the carnage.
Jake, I'll give
that
you
was
one
happening.
straight up, and we both did it after Origin Game 3, Val Holmes. That was an annoying one.
Yes. Yep, definitely. So yeah, the injuries that started to happen was just insane. So I feel like we definitely probably could have had a cheeky few trades up our sleeves, then we could have delivered, mate. So yeah, I would like to say I'll learn a lot from this year, but as soon as next year starts and there's some fantastic little cheapies around for 198 or 203 grand again, you watch me jump straight on board. So
Now, Jake, I want
I'll
to pose
never
this to you, mate.
change. I'll never change. All right, I'll never change.
Because at the
change.
start of the year, you were like, I'm going to be head to head. I'm getting number one. I'm getting the 50K. And then literally after round 3, after price changes, you're like, I'm back to cheapy watch. I'm getting every cheapy. I'm on to Cash Gen. I'm a Nigerian prince. That's pretty much what you said. I quoted. So what are you going to do differently? So you really want to be a head-to-head. You want to get to the top 1K next year. You've said this explicitly to me.
Yeah, I'm going to be overall next year, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No fingers crossed or anything, mate.
No, nothing here. So
What will you do differently for your starting team then?
look, I'll definitely have to assess it, but I think my main goal will probably be to have like a strong starting 18 and see what kind of cash I have left over. It'll be hard to obviously assess those prices at the time, but I'll be going in for like just a strong 18, I think, next year, and just fill the team. I don't really want to have nuffs. I'll be looking for whatever potential cheapies I can kind of find just to fill in spots. And probably put a little bit more effort into like the buy schedules as well when I pick my team at the very start of the year. Like really invest some time into the buy rounds and what teams are going to be off, and kind of foresee that if I can. But I don't know, mate. You should see at the beginning of every year the screenshots that I take of the 30 different teams that I build leading into Supercoach is ridiculous. I started the season with Huddy Young, and I've got screenshots to prove it. But then come round 1, he wasn't in my team, and he absolutely popped off. So half of it's luck. Yeah, I just got to stick to my guns, and yeah, we'll see how we go. So, but at the end of the day, my goal is just to beat you two lads next year, I reckon. So, yeah, that's it. Bring it. Bring on next week. Bring on finals. We'll see how this little finals cheeky thing goes.
Chris, what about you, mate? What have you learnt?
Yeah, look, I'll briefly touch on your subject as well, since we're on it. I won't go too deep into it, only because we'll probably do another podcast about it. But yeah, no, I'm still a big believer on trading and boosting hard early on. But as you guys have alluded to, I had 6 trades at the beginning of round 19 this year after the final major buy round. It clearly wasn't enough, and the injury carnage, the suspensions, the restings, they all took their toll. And then I missed out on, for example, Reece Walsh because of how few trades I had. Next year, I'm going to just ensure that I aim to still have 12 trades just going into the final minor buy round next year. That's my rule next year. Yeah, and in many ways, I'm gonna do that by avoiding just making random vibey trades because I can. I can talk more of that in detail to that, but very briefly, for example, if case in point was round 11 when I decided, I don't know why, but I just randomly decided Connor Tracy was a must buy, and he subsequently scored me 27 and 18, and I realized I'd made a big mistake. Yeah, but yeah, and just simply by not doing that, that would just been trade him in, trade him out. That would just be 2 trades. saved, and that straight away I've gone from 6 to having 8 for next year, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just once you're at the top, Chris, and you can understand, Jake, you'll get there next year, mate. But
I've learnt. Buy Herbie, not Osako.
There we go, son. There we go. I think the biggest thing too, and I've said it at the start, I sort of went against myself in some aspects, but you got to get the guys who are in the good teams. Like, you really got to avoid those poo slingers. And I was like, yep, Ponga. Ponga was probably like my biggest, and Turbo. I think it was like probably both those guys I traded in 3 times. There's like 6 trades, I reckon, overall, or 5 to 6 trades for those 2 players alone because of their history and their upside. But they're on shit teams. Like, especially the Knights, where I was like, Ponga surely. Like, I remember vividly, I was like, I'm getting Drinkwater. I had him in. You guys remember the conversation. I'm getting Drinkwater in. His time's about right. And I'm like, Ponga's 100k less. Ponga averages 100. Ponga gets a Dally M. Ponga's this. He converts. He does blah, 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 blah. And then gets injured, get him back in. Gets injured, plays shit, gets 50 points, get 20 points. Surely he's got to bounce back, hold him for too long. You get the idea. Drops down to 445k. I'm like, oh, shit. Can't get anyone else because everyone else is popping off, and all of a sudden, bloody Drinky, he's popped off to about 800,000. He's out of my price range now, and then I've got to go to a guy like Turbo, and I'm in the exact same boat where Turbo's on a shit team. He's got hamstring injuries. He's got an MCL injury. You know the drill. I think, again, I said it before, and I said at the very start of the year, avoid the guys who are on shit teams, and to go with that as well, I think next year to start with, if I'm going to go those high upside guys like a Tom Trbojevic, because he's going to be at center wing, and I think we'll leave that conversation for another podcast for the content. But those type of guys, I think you have to start with them. I probably don't want to be trading them in. It's just too much risk of burning those trades. What do you reckon, Jake?
Yeah, look, you definitely touched on a lot there. And I've definitely been hearing from you, or to avoid like the players in the weaker teams, essentially. But at the same time, that could, like, you just got to look at the Penrith, like, first half of the year. Pretty sure they were in the bottom 8 for a significant amount of time. So if you're purely looking at the ladder, like, were Penrith the shit team? Do you avoid all the Penrith stars?
Well, you did at the start of the year.
Yeah, not Nathan Cleary. He was straight in, mate, and I was holding on to him for sure.
He's the exception.
So, but yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Like, you're still gonna have some stars and some weaker teams as well. Like, look at JC and AJ, like, for the Titans, who were nearly a certainty for the spoon until like last week. This weekend just gone. So yeah, and they can produce some monster scores. So there's definitely a lot of things to consider. But yeah, when the better teams are on, they're obviously scoring a lot more points. Like, they're finding the line a lot more often. And yeah, that's where you're going to find a lot more points. So it definitely makes a lot of sense as well. So there's always learning curves. It definitely is a lot of luck as well at the same time. And yeah, there's so much to consider. So I don't know, maybe best thing is just to try and get some more advice off Adam, see if he's happy to share. So that's probably where I'll be
Adam,
in.
Adam does the typical, I'm gonna say one thing and does the opposite. He's notorious over the years. So. What about you, Chris?
It's funny because that is actually the one thing I remember from the first podcast you and I did together. It was, we had an argument about, or not an argument, but just a disagreement as to, like, hey, never pick players on shit teams. And I straight away went, well, that means I better get JC and Tino out of my team. Straight up, is what I said back to you. and I think it's not. I think I would amend that rule a little bit. I don't think it's necessary. Don't pick players on bad teams. Yeah, try not to pick them, but I think the exception would be, if they're cash cows or proven guns, like JC or Drinky or Lomax. Like, I think that you would amend it, or almost to no captaining players on shit teams. And when I mean by shit teams, it doesn't have to be the bottom eight. A lot. It's like Jake said. These teams like Panthers, they were in the bottom eight for most of the season. Same as the Finns. The Roosters without Sammy Walker, they were actually kind of teetering outside the eight for much of the season too. They got smashed, 60-0 pretty much by the Broncos in the first round. But I think it's just more case, don't captain these players like JC. There's just too much risk that, bad team, gets blown out as uncompetitive, or the classic like momentum killer, which is like you just knock the ball on in great attacking positions, and the Titans are, the best example of that. And in those situations, either your captain never gets the ball to attack, or they just lose so much game time standing underneath the goalposts that they just never accumulate massive base. And, and there's going to be exceptions, such as, for example, Drinky, who's on a shit Cows team, but they can attack. It's just that they leak way more points than they can make, really. And then, somebody like Lomax, who is just simply a psycho, just running the ball out of his half, on each set. So he just accumulates that base. Same as Terrell May, 60 plus minutes each week, which is non-existent for every other prop in the game. I think JC I brought early this season, and it was all based on that one potential, that 170 that he scored last year, against New Zealand in one of those major bye rounds, really. So that's one of my takeaways, for what you've said. But I really, really, the more and more I see, play this game, the more I agree with you, Ryan, in terms of try to avoid a lot of those bad teams, because they can really be hit and miss, really rocks and diamonds. You don't really want that.
And especially like on top of that too, if they're on a shit team and they are injury prone, that's just even bigger red flag. Like Latrell Mitchell, yes, can be an absolute superstar, but how many times did he have a soft tissue injury, or he got suspended, or the Rabbitohs all of a sudden got decimated and he's playing 3 different positions in one game? So it's like, it's definitely asterisks to all those things we just mentioned. But I don't want to go through every single topic, because this podcast is getting way too long for some listeners here, and we want to keep the content going for the next coming few weeks. But a bit of homework, and our beloved Adam promised he's coming on. So Adam, I know you're going to be listening to this tomorrow sometime. I want to know exactly what you're doing and exactly who you're bringing in, so I can just copy and paste for next year, so I can take your number 1 spot. But
no, I don't think so, mate. So I think it's been a good yarn.